Thanks very much. I'm Andy Gilchrist, the RMT's National Education Officer, and one of my responsibilities, working very closely obviously with Teresa, is to be responsible, if you like, for the project to the Council of Executives. The honest truth about it is, on a day-to-day basis, Teresa, Lindsay, development workers, and more importantly you, run the project as it rightly should be done, okay? I'm just somebody who has occasionally gets asked to sign things. I don't ask too many questions, as Teresa and Lindsay know what I sign, but apparently you're all okay. I'm sure it's been said today that it's not just a big thank you really for the work that's done inside of RMT Union Learn. It's a unique opportunity for us to sort of interface and communicate and connect with workers. It is quite unique. Before this stuff was invented, before it was thought it was a good idea, none of what you're doing now went on. And I think that after 2 or 3 years, many years ago now, some people have caught on that actually this is a damn good idea. And what's actually happening now is that you don't actually find the opposition across the trade union movement. And I'm pleased, I'm sure some of you, by the way, have got over the shock that we're still even here after the general election and so on. But I think, you see, even the enemy worked out the value of actually trying to support and assist and guide ordinary working people through an educational programme which, let's be frank, for a lot of people was completely missing when they were in the normal education system. I want to talk about a couple of other things just very quickly. One is about this education committee. I mean, you have to remember I'm a member of staff, so in this respect I do as I'm told. Quite rightly, a resolution went through the process, and I heard you talking earlier about how that happens, and a decision was taken by the governing body of this union to set this thing up. Now, what it is, I'll be honest here, I'm not too interested in actually, because actually the first gathering of it will determine what it is. Okay? So people keep asking me, well, is it this, is it that, and all the rest of it. Well, that's actually not my job. My job is to facilitate the thing happening. Branches will nominate whoever they nominate, and that's their, unique power, as it were, in deciding that, and people will come along, and frankly, the whole of the education and training agenda for this trade union will be at the mercy of that committee. And in a similar way, I'm involved with the Young Members Committee. They're able to sort of try anyway to sort of set an agenda for young members in the union. I've no doubt that eventually, in time, that committee will begin to set the sort of agenda that members of the RMT want. So I heard some people discussing in this part of the room anyway about it. What's absolutely critical is if you have any interest at all, if you've got any sort of passion at all about education and training, not really for us, certainly not for me anyway, but for the people coming through this union in the future, get along to your branch meeting and get yourself nominated. Put your hand up and say, actually, I'd like to do that. I'll do that on behalf of the branch. And get the branch, because by and large, if you put your hand up, they go, Christ almighty, what a volunteer. There's an unusual thing in the trade union movement, eh? And what you do is you say, I'll go and do that, and I'll do the best I possibly can. Not so much for us, and many of you, I know there are some young people out there, Adrian and Jayesh, but for the union of the future. So I'm looking forward to the Education Committee meeting, because I have to do as I'm told. I've been informed by the General Secretary that it's going to be my responsibility at least to get the thing going, and he promised me a date on Monday or Tuesday. I'm glad he's not in the room at the minute, because he hasn't given me the bloody date yet, but anyway, that's his prerogative as the boss, but he will get round to giving me a date, and I'll organise a venue, and branches will send along their delegates. And remember how powerful this could be. You can send resolutions to annual conference, the AGM, annual conference to me in the old days, or of course other stuff can go to the executive. And potentially, with over 170 active branches, forget the ones that are not active at the minute, you could have possibly 150 people in the room determining what I do on your behalf in terms of education and training, where this project goes in the future, and so on and so forth. Final thing I want to say is, and again it was pertinent, the discussion you had about points of order and reference back and all the rest of it. I remember being absolutely mystified in 1979 when I went to my first branch meeting, and somebody said, Mr. Chairman, and he was a Mr. Chairman, I move reference back. And I thought somebody had opened the curtain or something. I don't know what the hell was going on. Reference back, what's that about? The truth of the matter is all right, in this movement of ours, as wonderful as it is, you have to know the rules to play the game. Okay? And that's why, with the expansion of the Education Centre, we're going to have the possibility next year of having close on 900 to 950, Bob prefers the number 1,000 by the way, because that looks good at the TUC, but 900 to 950 activists, okay, going through our centre, learning how to change the world to be a better place for working people. So I brought along next year's calendars, if you hand them out, because your passion and commitment to education and training is already, you know, exemplified by the fact that, you know, you're here doing this now. So I'd like to see a lot of the people involved in the Union Learning Project learning how the union works and crucially working out where the hell it needs to go in the next 5 to 10, 15 years. And that's what the business I'm involved in at Doncaster, the people that have been up there this week, brand spanking new people, okay? Workplace Reps Level 1 course, people learning about not only how the union works, but how you can actually change the place of work. And finally, because you've probably heard some of what I've just said from other people, I just want to just tell you a few things. This is key points of a new law, okay, that was passed last week. Workers are guaranteed free access to legal services. Interesting. All workers have the right to social security, including housewives, in recognition of the economic value of domestic work. All outsourcing of jobs has been banned. As a result, outsourced workers must be incorporated into a company payroll structure and enjoy the same conditions and benefits as other employees. Workers must have their pension contributions paid by their employer. Double severance pay must be paid when a worker is unfairly dismissed. If a company goes bankrupt, all workers' entitlements must be met before any proceeds to bankruptcy can be paid. And also, workers are guaranteed full trade union rights, including the right to strike in their own interests, as well as in the solidarity for others. Oh, and by the way, they put up, by the way, the minimum wage by 32%. Nothing wrong with voting for a socialist government in Venezuela, let me tell you.
The circle group who didn't get evaluation forms, didn't pick one up, can you come and get one off me, please? Put your hand up. Is there any questions? Is there any questions for Andy or myself? Linda?
Just a quick question, Andy. Just to clarify, so on the advisory committee, obviously it's you can nominate one delegate from each yard to the advisory, and then there might be a but when it comes to the conference, is it going to be the same and we can send as many delegates as we like? Because most branches have got more than one union learning there, and you know, that's how it works for the other grades.
I think that's a very good point, Linda. And I really wish I could give you an honest to God answer. I mean, I'm very clear about the Education Advisory Committee we run, in what I'm familiar with, the young members, but there are other advisory committees that run the same way. And there's JS and Adrian in the room. I mean, what we do with the young members' conference is that branches nominate delegates to the conference, wherever one of them is. Yeah? And that will be the process. Crucially, what you'll have, elected from the advisory committee, is what we term, you'll be familiar with, a liaison committee. So that within that advisory committee, a group of those people on their behalf will organise that conference. Okay? I can't honestly say to you off the top of my head exactly how many delegates would go to the conference. I mean, we don't have a bar on young members going to the young members conference in February every year.
All I'm saying is, because I was one of the people that opposed the resolution at the ADM,
right.
and the whole resolution was about getting equality with the other grades conferences. So with the other grades, you can nominate as many that want to go, and I'm hoping that with this conference it's going to be the same thing, and we're not going to be told, oh, you can only send one or two.
No, that's my understanding as well. And in the same way, if a branch wants to send 10 people to the Young Members Conference in Newcastle next year, that's up to them. I just qualified, by the way.
Any other questions, Mike?
Andy, have you got the slot in there? You know, I would actually check the multimedia course for ULR's multimedia. Social media.
No. The answer is no.
Yeah.
The qualification is that in the communications course, there is a whole section in that course which is around different ways of communicating the message, whatever that message might be.
Yeah.
But, and if you look at on those calendars very quickly, if you look at what I'm going to call the Room 2 courses, and ignore, by the way, the ULF courses, you really need to have done Workplace Reps Level 1 course. Otherwise, you're sort of like, you haven't got the basic information going forward. So, if you're interested in developing that kind of thing, the communication course is the one you need to go.